All right, second grade, we're going to have our Bible time this morning. Go ahead and stand up. We're going to start singing my favorite part of the day. So let's start with My God is So Great. My God is so great, so strong and so mighty. There's nothing my God cannot do for you. My God is so great, so strong and so mighty. There's nothing my God cannot do for you. The mountains are His, the valleys are His, the stars are His handiwork too. My God is so great, so strong and so mighty. There's nothing my God cannot do for you. And let's do Who's the King of the Jungle? Who's the king of the jungle? Who's the king of the sea? Bubble, bubble, bubble. Who's the king of the universe? And who's the king of me? I tell you, J-E-S-U-S. Yes, He's the king of me. He's the king of the universe, the jungle and the sea. Bubble, 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 bubble. And let's do It's Bubbling. We haven't done that one in a while. It's bubbling, it's bubbling, it's bubbling in my soul. They're singing and laughing since Jesus made me whole. Folks don't understand it, nor can they keep it quiet. It's bubbling, 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 bubbling day and night. And let's do I Will Make You Fishers of Men. I will make you fishers of men, fishers of men, fishers of men. I will make you fishers of men if you follow me. If you follow me, if you follow me. I will make you fishers of men if you follow me. Hear Christ calling, come unto me, come unto me, come unto me. Hear Christ calling, come unto me. I will give you rest. I will give you rest. I will give you rest. Hear Christ calling, come unto me. I will give you rest. Now, today, we're going to continue to think about our Bible verse that we've been discussing the last couple of weeks. And that was John 16:33. So let me go ahead and we'll open it up and we'll look at it together. Now remember, it says, these things I have spoken unto you, that in me ye might have peace. In the world ye shall have tribulation, but be of good cheer. I have overcome the world. So God wants us to be happy, even despite the circumstances that we're in right now. We can still choose to be happy because He overcame the world. So go ahead and remember that today as you go throughout your day. Now, I know many of you might have prayer requests, and we don't have a chance to talk about our prayer requests, but know that I'm praying for you. Every day I pray that you'll have a good day, that you'll listen to your parents and get your work done, that you won't give them a hard time. I pray that God will keep you safe. I pray that when your parents are going to work, that they'll be safe from the virus. I pray for you because it's so important, and I'm sad that we can't share our praises and our prayer requests every single day. I think that was one of my favorite parts of the day, and God answered so many of our prayers throughout the year this year that I know He'll answer more, even if we're not together. For our Bible time, this is one of my favorite stories. So normally during this time, I would read from this book. This would be kind of how we ended our year, and it's called Pelts and Promises, and it's about two boys, and one boy loves dogs. Do you love dogs? Well, this boy, he loves dogs, but he doesn't have a dog. Now, I'm going to tell you a little secret. I know you already know this, but Mrs. Nichols doesn't really like dogs. Not at all. Not at all. I don't like their licking. I don't like their drooling. I don't like them jumping up on me. But I just try to be nice about it when I'm around them. But my kids, they love dogs. They would love to have a dog, but we just don't have one. So in our story today, I'll read a few chapters and then we'll talk about it after. Now, this has taken place a long time ago, before you were born, before I was born, before my parents were even born, so a long, long time ago. Willie B. edged toward the schoolhouse and set his dinner pail in the shadows of the steps. He motioned for me to follow. Now, schoolhouse, that should be a hint. So this is during the time when school, all the grades were in one class. And then he said dinner pail. So they'd have something that looked like a little pail that they would carry, not a lunchbox. It was metal, and sometimes Mom would put maybe a sandwich and an apple. That would be their only lunch, and she'd put like a little cloth on top to keep it from falling out. And so that's what they would take to school every day. I put the last wedge of apple into my mouth, wiped the blade of my deerfoot knife onto my breeches, those are pants, and slid the knife back into its sheath. I chewed slowly and watched Willie B. He backed up the stairs one step at a time, facing the schoolyard. Something about the set of his jaw reminded me of the time he climbed the steeple. "Where are you going, Willie B?" I said. He glanced at me. "Well, back inside, Jamie. Wanna help?" With what? Willie B had that look on his face I'd seen at the time he'd put a cork in the spout and water sprayed all over Cassie's dress. I swallowed my apple. "What are you up to now, Willie B? Are we gonna catch it with Mr. Gold?" Now, catch it means get in trouble. "I'm just gonna change my world," said Willie B. "What?" said Jamie. "Well, change my world. You know, Mr. Gould was talking about inventors. Edison changed his world. Macaroni changed his world. I'm gonna change my world. Are you coming?" I looked at Willie B's face, and then I took a breath and marched to the bottom of the steps. The girls were playing jump rope. Mr. Gould was sitting under the tree. No one was watching us. I ran up the schoolhouse steps 3 at a time. It was very quiet inside. Willie B began pushing the tables to the back door. The legs scraped the floor. "Open the door, Jamie. On 3, we'll lift it. 1, 2, 3. I hoisted my end above the door. We wobbled it down the steps. We moved quickly. Made 7 other trips with 7 other tables and Mr. Gould's desk. Willie B acted like we had all the time in the world, but every time I would run to the window, look to see if Mr. Gould was coming up. We still had time. We stacked the benches and carried them out, and then we brought the bookcase and the pulpit. I leaned out the door. Mr. Gould was on his feet. "He's looking around," I said to Willie B. "Fast, get the books." He picked up the empty bookcase, put it over his shoulder, and as the echoes of the bell faded, we hurried into the line, just as sweaty as everybody else. So this is Jamie, and this is Willie B. I never like waiting for folks to discover plans. It made me nervous. This was a really good prank. I had to hand it to Willie B. I couldn't help grinning. Mr. Gould gave his usual instructions. "Children, take your seats, open your readers." The class started to walk up the steps, but as soon as they got into the room, they all started to bump into each other. Mr. Gould was at the back of the group, so he had no idea what was going on. "Take your seats," said Mr. Gould. Someone did," said Callie. "Someone did what?" said Mr. Gould. "Someone took our seats." Mr. Gould pushed his way to the stairs, to the front. He stepped into the classroom, and the sound was hollow. I wiped my hands on my pants again and watched as Mr. Gould turned his head and looked at each one of the students. Every bench was gone, every table was missing, the bookcase had vanished, the globe was gone. I had to look down and not look at Mr. Gould. "Willie B!" Mr. Gould fired the question. "Well, yes, sir," said Willie B. I didn't do anything," Willie B seemed to say. "Don't you yes, sir, me, young man. What is this?" I looked at Willie B. "Well, I'm just changing my world, sir. Remember, 1879, Edison, Macaroni, 1897, 1903, Willie B. Kind of changes what the room looks like, doesn't it? Have you ever seen how many holes are in this floor? Have you? Said Willie B. Was I ever glad when Mr. Gould's shoulders started to shake and a rumble of laugh came out of him. "Well, where is our school now?" said Mr. Gould. "Well, it's out back by the willow grove, Jame, and I thought it'd be a fine change for our world to have class outside." "All right, boys, we'll go out to the autumn grove. Before you two are excused, however, you must sweep the schoolhouse and return all the items to the proper place. Whew, that was it? Will do, said Willoughby. I promise. When school was done for the day, we pushed the piles of dirt out the back door. We brought in all of the things. Open a window, Willoughby. I can't breathe. There's too much dust. Willoughby opened the window. We started to bring all the things in. Mr. Gould called to us at the door. Boys, I don't like to leave you, but I've got to pick up something at the post office. Can I trust you to close up? Why, yes, sir, said Willoughby. When we finally lifted the last thing in and brought the pulpit to the front and put the Bible on top, Willoughby surveyed the room. Well, I guess that does it. Are you sure, Willoughby? I said. It looks quite proper to me. It seemed like we were forgetting something. I couldn't remember what it was. We shut the door and headed down the lane. The breeze was blowing very hard, and then I heard a roll of thunder. We took off running. By the time we parted in the fork in the road, Willoughby going one way and me going the other, big raindrops were plopping on the road. That was some storm we had. When the sun came up Friday morning, the Morgan's Lane, my road, was a big long puddle. I got to school before Willoughby did, and I discovered what we had forgotten the day before. Do you know what they forgot? Did you hear me not tell it? The windows. They forgot to shut the windows. Rain had poured in and soaked all the benches, putting pools of water all around. I knew Mr. Gould would scold us. But Mr. Gould, when he spoke, it was stern and soft, and he said words like, William Bartholomew James, I want you to come to my desk immediately. Oh boy, this sounded something worse than the windows. I told you to lock up properly. Well, yes, sir, and I gave you my word, said Willoughby. Then I'm afraid your word isn't good enough. And Mr. Gould held up a dripping, wet Bible. The parson's Bible was wet and ruined. Now, you have to remember during those days, they didn't just have Bibles like we have Bibles everywhere. Everyone in our house has a Bible. They did not. In a family, maybe of Willoughby's and Jamie's, they would have one family Bible, and sometimes families did not because they were very expensive. Now, they didn't have a pastor that was in church every Sunday. They would have what was called a traveling pastor, and he would go from town to town and spend a month in each town, and he would preach in the town, and then he would move on to the next town the next month. So the parson's Bible was a treasured thing. It stayed in the school, it stayed on the pulpit, and it was only used for those specific purposes as something that was special that the town had. And Willoughby and Jamie ruined it. So we'll find out next time what happens.